everyone, I'm Joel. In this video, I'm finally going to be installing the biggest thing that my E46 drift wagon has needed, a hydraulic handbrake. This is like the last big thing that I needed before I felt fully confident drifting in areas that I don't know. Because with the handbrake, it allows the car to slow down so quickly no matter what, and sometimes the foot brake doesn't allow that. So finally the car has the safety net. Since this car is my daily, I was always wanting to be fully prepared before starting this, but eventually I just have to start because plans change. So you can be as prepared as possible, but at the end of the day, you could still need more things. So I'll give you guys a sneak peek. Oh man, look at that fitment though. Let's get right into it. These are most of the parts that I'm going to be using today. The main star of the show is this handbrake that I got from Odesa CNC. He's a Polish guy that makes these handbrakes, and I really wanted this one because it has a detachable handle. I daily drive this car and I want to be able to take it off so I can see the CarPlay, and I love that concept. I just replaced it with a Wilwood's 5/8 because I've heard that people say if you don't have a Wilwood Master, then it's so difficult to bleed the handbrake and the brake system. So I'm going to take their word for it and just throw a Wilwood one on there from the start. These T's right here are factory fittings on the rear of E30s. One brake line goes to the back and then it tees to each caliper. This plate is also from Odesa CNC. Got these together. I'm thinking about just welding this in, and these are some bubble flare fittings for this M10 by 1.0, so I'm gonna need a few more of those. It is kind of unfortunate because during shipping the handle got some nicks and scratches, so because of that, this is a height adjustment screw, so with that height adjustment screw, I'm gonna try and get it so these scratches are not visible to me. I was about to start disassembling the interior, but I do remember this is different thread pitch, so I'm gonna have to change this rod onto this master cylinder. Oh God, I gotta cut this off. Ugh. I guess I did not have to cut it. It appears to me after some investigation that the rod used to be longer, but he trimmed it down, probably for fitment issues, which that makes a lot of sense. So I'm gonna definitely transfer this one over. Coming from you. There it is. Perfect. Let's go. Dude, it's solid now, dude.
Oh, fuck. That's solid. That thing's rock hard.
Come on, all in my fucking ear, yo. Alright, now I can tighten it. There we go. She's all set. Damn, no way is it the exact size. I'm gonna have to trim a little bit down on the inside to get this to sit flat. I grinded a little more off. And it fits. But a new issue has arrived. The top hole lines up perfectly, but the bottom is nowhere near. So I'm gonna drill a new hole through there, but it's gonna be very close. Like I think it's gonna cut into this hole, but I'm not using this cheap master cylinder. Since my normal brakes are gonna run through this as well, if I had a failure here, I would have no brakes to the rear of the car. When I drill this hole, it's gonna be overlapping with this one a little bit, but I don't think it really matters. Once it's all tight, it should hold itself together pretty well. Yep. Okay, so yeah, when this top one is in, it does not want to move at all. So that's good that I put that bolt in. Now I need to get this dead center. I kept sliding the master off, adding more paint where it was visible, and then once it was all fully blue, then I can come in and remove all that. What the hell? This ended up coming loose because I turned the speed all the way up. Damn, this thing is dangerous. Ha ha, it's perfect. She's good to go. There's a big ass hole right here that goes straight down. What? That's definitely where my brake lines are gonna go through. This is a lot better than trying to squeeze the armrest through here. I've done that before and always wondered why it was so difficult. It's because that's the proper way to do it. I was fully expecting to have to weld this plate in, but now that I'm looking at it, this plate is for the E46, and these 3 slotted holes line up perfectly with those 3 bolts. So no way do people actually just hold this on by 3 bolts. That is where the automatic shifter bolts into, so that might be why. Since this car was automatic, if this was a manual, you might have to weld it all in. Either way, I gotta trim this carpet. I really don't want to go through my wire harness. I don't know if this is part of the dash or not, but it kind of looks like it. That's pretty good right there. That's for a first cut. This stupid ass knife. I slipped a little bit and went into my wire harness. And now my hazards are on as a result of that. Shit! This is a super long shot, but maybe the knife going through the wires activated it and shorted it out, acted as if I pressed the button because I loosened all the wires and it's still on. So let's see. Holy shit, that was what happened. What? The knife went through for a split millisecond. Barely went through those wires. It went through enough to activate it, and that's it. At least, let me hope that that's the only thing that happened. I'm looking at it. This master is big as hell. Maybe I would have been able to fit a reverse into there now that I'm actually looking at it. Oh my god. I think I would definitely be able to fit a reverse. This whole corner has to get chopped off. This has to go so far back to line up with those holes. I looked it up and it does appear that this whole section is a part of the dash. I don't know. I don't feel very confident with just these 3 pretty small bolts. I mean, it's pretty damn solid, but for how long? All of this is getting chopped. She gonna go. I'm gonna go grab my mask.
I was about to say.
Making a goddamn mess. Maybe I should have got the vacuum. Maybe now here. Damn, my interior is getting fucking cooked. Nice.
I would say take that whole fucking thing off. That's a
Oh
bitch.
yeah, there's a bolt in here.
What do you
My
need?
stupid ass, there's a bolt in here. Wait, but I do want this in so that I can hold this side.
Yo. Okay.
Okay, so I'll just cut it cleanly right here.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah,
I know a chisel wouldn't do shit, but maybe.
I would. If I were to run the hard lines like I originally wanted to off of this, I'd have to kick it up kind of like this. And that would stick way too high up to fit the bezel around the shifter. So that'd be junk if I did it that way. I'm thinking of running Banjo fittings and then having it go into a -3AN and using soft lines instead. Because this is too close to everything. But now I'm going to measure the distance from here to where I'm going to tap into on the brake system so that I know exactly how long I need for the brake lines. And I'm going to do that with some welding wire. I'm going to just stick it through this hole right here and line everything up. Damn, actually. The piece of welding wire measures 3 feet 6 inches. Is it intimidating now though?
Maybe a little bit.
I knew plans would change slightly once I was actually in here and the fitment issues became more apparent. Looking at everything now and sleeping on it, I don't think these 3 bolts are going to be enough to hold this on. I'm going to be yanking on this pretty hard. So I went in and sectioned off where I'm going to add 4 little stitch welds. I'm going to grind both the plate and the trans tunnel nice and paint free so that I can get some good welds up onto there and give this thing some more structural rigidity. That's going to be the solution for the plate to the car, but for the handbrake to the plate, I don't want to do anything to the shifter hole on the plate because that is a really big hole and moving the plate around is going to be a lot more difficult because of that. So I'm going to make new holes to mount the handbrake because if I were to prioritize using those holes, it would stick the master straight out and through the side of the lower dash part, and I don't want that. So with it sitting right about here, I get access to one of the bolts with the handbrake, and then I'm gonna have to drill 3 more after. So I'm making sure that that bolt hole remains centered, and then I have that much movement. I think angling it as much towards me as possible is the best bet, just so I'm not pulling to the side. This is exactly where the handbrake is gonna go. Since I want the line to be right as close to the handbrake as possible, I'm using a pen. Even though it is not visible, I'll be able to see it. With the paint pen, it's gonna put the line way too far out from where I want it to actually sit. There we go, nice clean line. Since I'm using this left hole right here and I'm gonna be pivoting around that point, once this face is lined up with that line, it's fully concentric right there. There's no other place for it to sit. So there's a lot of times when you're marking something, it has movement in a direction that you don't expect it to have movement in. And since you didn't mark it, it makes it a lot more difficult. So make sure you mark it good before going over to the bench. Perfect. And then this bottom left one, a little bit of Dremel work. There we go, it's just about fully lined up in that bottom left hole. All I see is blue in there, so I'm gonna remove all that blue with the Dremel, and it should be ready to go. I went and grabbed some hardware from the hardware store. And they are a little long, but that's fine because I knew I was going to have to trim it perfectly so it's super smooth with this. I could not have gotten a better grind on those bolts. They are the perfect size. These nuts are going to have to get welded to the bottom of this plate because once I weld the plate to the car, there's no access to these nuts. I went and grabbed a welding blanket from Harbor Freight because I do not want to burn anything in my interior or my whole car down. Now let's try and eliminate this gap right here as much as possible. If I can get this plate to sit flush on the trans tunnel, that's ideal. I don't know if this is gonna work, but I'm gonna try it. Oh, it's working. I used to kind of stress out about doing damage to my car like that, but this is for the greater good. This is to add more purpose to the vehicle. Yeah, there's still a little bit of a gap there, so I'm gonna keep going. Out here totaling my car. That bolt hole is caving in a little bit now, but is sitting pretty nice right there. I got a slide hammer hooked up to this. Let's see. I gotta be careful though. I am definitely ruining the structural integrity by bending that like that. Something is gonna want to break if I keep doing that. So the current dilemma is with these 3 nuts, it is very solid. I'm pulling on it really hard and it's shaking the whole car. Like, I don't feel any kind of movement. And I believe that is because, yes, it's only held in by these 3 small bolts, but those 3 bolts are pressing this entire plate around its whole area across the whole transmission tunnel, and it's evening out the load a lot. If it was just a small plate, it would be a lot more susceptible to the forces and bending. I don't know. I actually think it might be good with just these 3. Or at least it's solid enough for me to want to just leave it there until I have an issue. Because I did not expect it to be this solid. So lining that bolt up right there. I'm going to have to trim a lot. And this plate might not even fit. Here's the first cut. Let's see how much more I gotta get rid of. It already fits way better. Now it's hitting on this corner. I gotta delete some of that corner right there. Attempt number 2. Let's see if it works. Damn, it's getting really close. It's getting really close. It's hitting on this webbing right here. So I'm gonna get all this flat. Attempt number 3. Please, I hope it even fits in general. This thing is sagging a good amount. Yeah, there it is. It's good. Okay, so now the big, no, I am gonna have to trim that top. That is rather unfortunate that I'm gonna have to trim into this. Damn. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of the outer layer first. The plastic piece that's the AC unit up here is what holds this down. You slide this piece under that and then bolt this down. But since I don't have it, I'm just simulating it being there by pressing it in. Okay, so now just a very small bind up right there. This is all about patience, and now I messed up a few times. Letting the Dremel walk on the wood trim is so AIDS. Yeah, I just trimmed it way too small in general. Now that I think about it, I'm getting carried away trimming it without the master even being bled. So I doubt that the handbrake motion is going to be any less than this so far. So I feel good about what I've trimmed, but I don't know. I doubt it's only going to have this much play. I don't think it will be though. Now since it detaches, I think when I was swinging the hammer I broke this little clip. Which I'm an asshole for that, but with this I'll be able to get this perfect, I think. So I'm just gonna draw down the center line of where the handbrake sits. It lines up perfectly, so I'm gonna use the Dremel to get rid of some of this. Just guessing by eye, I marked the sides and then just drew a shape that I think is gonna work. Let's see if I can get it first try. I went and marked it again. That is a lot better of a guess. Oh, whoa, 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 that's a good sign. That is a damn good sign. Oof. It's a little narrow still. A few days later now, I finally have everything to finish the handbrake setup on the wagon. The big hang up was I ordered 2 of these fittings and I ended up finding that the Banjo on these are 10mm, which works with this Banjo here, but for this Banjo, I needed to get a 12mm inner diameter to a -3. So I didn't know that that was a thing. Now I'm putting together the perfect recipe to make this work on an E46. These 2 are 44-inch hoses with a 90 on one end and a straight on the other. The 90 is going to be under the car, connecting directly to these T-unions right here. And these T-unions use M10 by 1.0 bubble flares. That's exactly what these fittings are right here. And I also bought these fittings here. M10 by 1.0, and it actually has the fitting on the bottom. Some of the M10 by 1.0s didn't have this little cone shape at the bottom, but that is what seals the brake pressure. So I definitely wanted this fitting to have that. And then the other end is a -3AN. It's gonna go directly into there. This should be very nice and simple, cheap, which is the best part of it, and hopefully it's nice and reliable all at the same time. When I was trying to plan this handbrake, I wanted it to work in a very specific way, exactly how I ended up planning it out now, because I think in my mind this is the best way to get it done without doing too much extra. And then say if I ever want to go back and not use this inline handbrake, I could just replace this T with a straight fitting and connect both brake lines to each other and run it like it does stock. So it's fully reversible. There's not too much pain. If it works perfect, then that's amazing. If it's not good and I need to end up changing it up, you guys will be able to see that, and we'll see if this setup is reliable or not. I got this Banjo bolt from Oreilly's. It was like $4, and then everything else I got off of Amazon. So the link is going to be in the description. I think it might be easier just to install this fitting outside, and then I'll get it tight once it's in the car. Feed that line straight down. Goes out through there. There she is. I don't know what direction to go. I would prefer to the left, but I don't think there's enough space. If there's gonna be fitment issues, I think it's gonna be up here. Oh God, yeah. You can't really go flat. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go around the right side. Yo, God, that is close. I didn't think that a 45 on this fitting would be a good idea. I thought it would cut down too fast. But a 45 on the end of this hose might be better because it kicks out so high up and close to the shifter. Oh no, it's so high up. This trim is not gonna fit for the shifter. That's as close as that can be.
Let's do it.
Right there. Well, it's still sucking. There we go. That's a lot more brake fluid than I thought was gonna come out. So I'm very glad that I did this before instead of letting it all leak out. I don't like that it looks like my copper brake line is already rusting. It looks like shit compared to that steel line. On the test piece of brake line, I bent it and then straightened it back out to see how much brake line it gets used. And it was 2 inches to get a 90-degree. I want the first T to sit right here, so I'm gonna be cutting the brake lines right here. It's giving me 2 inches, bending them, have the T right here, and then I'm gonna need the same on the other side. So this T is gonna be set up right here, and this T is gonna be set up right here. Nice and simple.
Joel, the pipe fitter.
Dude, this is like scuffed. I don't know why I have this big ass fucking pipe. This is like for... Wait, I might have a smaller one.
It's for plumbing.
Plumbing, literally. I couldn't find my smaller one, so I'm just gonna suck it up.
Oh yeah! Right after you stop recording.
No, I was starting.
Oh. Sorry.
Oh my god. Nice bubble flare on there. Perfect though. Ah. Holy shit. What the f happened? Nothing happened. That's exactly what. This slipped and grabbed on the paint and fucking ripped it off. I cranked this way tighter. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it is. Let's go. Perfect. Nice.
Christ.
You got scared?
My God.
Did you get scared?
No.
The best in sponsor.
Buddy, I think it's tight.
No, I'm not going full force. I'm feeling it out. I'm talking to the brass. Brass.
Talking to the brass.
I was talking to the brass right there. Me and it were communicating.
What was she saying?
It was saying, oh, right there, right there, right there, right there.
Stop.
So. Everything is fully installed now. The 2 brake lines just come in and then they come back. Really nice and simple. And the big thing that I wanted is to stay above the frame as much as possible. I don't want to yank my brakes out because that would absolutely suck. So I'm gonna open the bleed screw in the back right of the car while Ryan up here presses the brake pedal after, and then he's gonna pull the handbrake all the way back, and then I'm gonna close the bleed screw, and then he's gonna let go of the handbrake slowly, and then let go of the foot brake slowly. And then we're gonna repeat. I'm gonna open this bleed screw again, foot brake, handbrake, close, handbrake back, and then do that until it's fully bled. I'm open again. Whoa, hella air. Hella, Alright, yo, hella air just came out of there. After fully bleeding the brakes, it appears there are no leaks. I'm so excited. This came out a lot better than I expected it to. Since I broke this little piece right here, and it's plastic, I'm gonna use the plastic welder to come in and get this all solid again, because the whole trim piece was moving in and out every time I was hitting the brakes. I'm kind of just mushing it all together so that it becomes one piece right at the seam. Add a little material and mush it all together. Heat up both sides and turn them into one. I think that should be good. I went in and added a little bit more plastic and it's pretty solid now. Perfect. Let's go. I trimmed this whole corner here to clear this end line that goes through there. But now a major fitment issue has appeared. The Banjo fitting. So I'm gonna drill a hole through this wood trim and try and have it be the exact size that it needs to clear this Banjo bolt. The drilled hole is a good start, but I'm gonna use the Dremel to carry it up more. This should be nearing one of the final cuts. It finally fits. Now I just need to trim some of this fat under here. That is a final look at the hole. All it is trial and error until it fits. Ha! Damn. It's in there, it's solid. I actually really like that. After I got home last night, I was looking at the picture and I was like, yo, if I undid that bolt right there, I could tuck the lines behind the heat shield. And this is definitely the way to do it. I feel so good about these lines being protected. They're away from the exhaust and everything. Away from this drive shaft with this factory clip that was here. I don't know what it was for, but it works perfectly. It was empty and it just works perfectly. Some people like running the end lines on E46s. One line from the master cylinder to the handbrake, and then from the handbrake to the ABS pump, and it interrupts that line right there. But I've seen some people struggle a lot to get their handbrakes bled like that, and some other people say that you need IMPA, which is a service on your laptop that BMW uses to bleed the ABS pump. I was not trying to deal with all that, and that is the reason why I tapped into these brake lines, because it was incredibly easy to bleed, and I could bleed the brakes anywhere if I ever need to. If I need a laptop to bleed the brakes, that's just a recipe for disaster. I added these washers so they're not just some skinny ass bolts. We'll see how long those last. I also zip tied some fuel hose to the braided line so that it's not just rubbing on the bare metal. And hopefully that stays in position. It's probably gonna roll off because it's not too tightly on there, but I can officially commence the final assembly. It is looking real good so far. I like that I went straight right here so that it just looks like a little slot instead of having that little bend at the beginning. And there's a whole bunch of clearance. But the last little bit of fitment issues is this line is getting caught up on this small section of the shift boot. So I'm gonna try and cut it in half so I can leave a little bit of support. I don't want to cut it all the way off because then it's going to be flimsy as hell. I'm welding in this little piece of support on the corner so that I can just cut this whole corner out and leave a little pocket for the handbrake to go into. I gotta let it cool down a little bit, and then I'm gonna add some more plastic, and then like right there it should be held together, but I gotta make it strong now. Putting no pressure on it so that I don't move the piece that I'm welding. Here we go. Now with that extra plastic, I can come in, get both pieces that I'm welding very hot. Get them all molten. It'll be stronger than the plastic around it. I gotta hold it for a little bit because it's still liquid. And then there, it should be good to go. Pretty solid. Nice. I cut this little piece of plastic out of this thing with the that I got off of my E46. Any piece of plastic will work, but that is so sick. This is sick. There is no doubt that this is stronger than what it was before. This plastic welder is so good. Finally, all the trimming is done. It is such a time-consuming process, but it's worth it. I really like the fitment of this. It just looks so satisfying when it's close like that. And since I drive this car every day, it's not going to be an eyesore. One little thing that I noticed, I left the bottom of this touching with the master, and I was gonna trim it more, but when I pull on the handbrake, it flexes the entire dash because it's like leveraging on the bottom of this. So it might be good. This is taking some of the load off of just the plate. And then up here, you can see the piece a little bit because you know about it, but the handbrake just falls right into that little pocket. But this boot just sits right over there. The handbrake just sinks into that. Oh, that's not good. Oh, I broke the wood trim, this thing. Well, I guess that was contacting a little bit, but these things happen. Yeah, that is rather unfortunate. Fuck. I guess I'm just gonna have to plastic weld the piece of plastic on this side and then cut this away like how I did on there. I really don't want to, but fuck. Just because I said that I didn't want to do it meant that I absolutely had to do it. So I did it. I feel good about it. Let's see. First time pulling the handle. Oh my God, I'm pulling so hard. I don't think any bout of adrenaline is gonna make me pull harder than this. So I can confidently say there are no more fitment issues. Let's go. I used the plastic welder to melt the plastic and then put the shift boot straight back onto it and acted like glue. It looks so good now. Damn, I didn't even think about this. More trimming. For this back one, I got kind of carried away on the bottom, but I just cut a little square window right out of the corner. And then with the carbide bit on the Dremel, just kept expanding until it fit. Like I said earlier, it's just a trial and error. Now I was trying to push this all the way in, forgetting that I have to pick the bottom up because there's no structural integrity. Now it'll bolt up. I had to trim a lot more than I initially expected to, but I am actually really excited with the end result. And I drove the car home yesterday. This thing fucking rips. I just found this little diagram and I am so excited that I found it. But I'm gonna wire the driver side windows to the passenger side windows. And hopefully I can have just one window switch do both fronts and both rears. Here is the big moment of truth. I wired the front down, pin number 1, to pin number 3, which should be the front down on this one. So right now, off of the passenger switch, both windows should go down. Yes, that is so cool. Obviously. Hold on, it's weird as hell. Hold on. I think this is not gonna work. When I go up on the passenger switch, it's going down on this window now. Wait, what? Oh. The switches have 2 clicks. 1, and then 2 does the auto up. When I do the 2 auto up, it puts my driver window down and that one up. That's weird. I don't know if I want to do that now. Yeah, it's wonky as hell. I am gonna just leave the window switch dangling like this for now, just because I don't really care that much. It's not that big of a deal. But let's go test it.